Comments on the show. I'm sure, Chris, you can write your letters to Chris Davis, and we'll try to make the show better for you.
Square, Northeastern, don't ask the zip, I don't know.
And it's time.
Survey says.
The price is wrong. For trivia.
And live from the ECAT studios in Northeastern Massachusetts, this is Triviality. I'm your host and trivia master of ceremonies, Tim Poupolo, and welcome back. It is Tuesday, February 27th, 2024, and it's time for trivia. So, this evening's Tuesday Triviality is brought to us by Northeastern Savings Bank. From personal to business banking and investing services, Northeastern Savings Bank is here to help you grow. Find out more about their services and locations. Go to northeasternsavingsbank.com. So thank you to our sponsor, and thank you all for joining us this evening. For reference, this is a trivia questions and answers show. If you're watching this as a rerun or on demand or down the Facebook history, you can always watch and play along for the spirit of it. But if you are playing with us this evening live, there is an opportunity to play along, send in your answers, and potentially win prizes. So we'll quickly review how you can send in your answers, but first, the prizes. So we'll be playing with 3 rounds. Each round will have a prize at the end of it. Round 1, we'll be playing for a $50 gift card to Easton Fitness at 285 Washington Street, Northeastern Massachusetts, personal training just for you. So that's at the Northeastern Village Shops on 138. So $50 gift card to Easton Fitness is your round 1 prize. Your round 2 prize, another $50 gift card. This one is to Makeovers Salon. This is also right on 138, located at 594 Washington Street, Southeastern. Extraordinary services and beautiful surroundings. So round 2 will be for Makeovers Salon and Spa right on 138 in Southeastern. And finally, round 3 is a $50 gift card to Kohl's. So this can be used both online and in store, and this was donated to us from the Mansfield Crossing location of Kohl's. So those are the 3 gift cards for the 3 rounds that we'll be playing for this evening. So if you are watching with us live this evening, this QR code right over here is how you can get to your handy-dandy trivia answer sheet. This is what we'll use for every question for each round. So you'll keep reusing the same answer sheet. You'll notice it's very simple. It's just looking for name and answer. You can take this moment to scan it with a device. You can use this on a tablet, smartphone, computer, whichever device is most accessible to you. You can also click and follow the link on the Facebook as well to get it up in another tab. But when you have that up and open, you'll notice the fields, your name, your answer, and then your email. That only needs to be sent in with your first answer of the evening, and as long as you don't change names, we'll have a way to contact you if you're one of each round's winners. So, how it comes to winning. Speed and correctness is rewarded here. For each question, you'll have a minute on the clock to send in your answers before I reveal the answer live on air. For the first 3 fastest correct answerers, your name will be added into a random drawing. So you got to be fast and you got to be correct. And at the end of each round, if each question has 3 names put into this bag, at the end of each round, we will draw 1 name for that prize. So that means you can max out your chances by being a top 3 correct answerer for each question. But even if you are maybe the 3rd fastest answerer on only one of them, you still have a chance to win in each round. So you can max out those chances, and if you want a little tip when it comes to speed, put in your name first before I start reading the question. That way you don't have to waste any time typing in your name each time. Okay. But be advised, anything that you yell directly at your TV screen, put in the Facebook chat box, or send in any other manner won't get to us. Using this, we'll get a timestamp down to the millisecond, so we won't have to deal with any draws. So if you have that up, then we are just about ready to go. We'll keep this match above the belt, nice and clean. We're not here to judge who's smart. We're just here to judge who has the best collection of useless information. So now's your chance to get those answer forms locked and loaded, get that name in, spend your time and put your email address in now. You only have to do that once. And with that, we can jump right into round one. You'll have 1 minute before we move on to the next question. Here we go. Round one, question one. In a regular bag of M&Ms, how many different colors do the candies come in? So just looking for a number with this. Here we go, and the clock is starting. Just looking for a number. You don't have to list any colors. How many colors do M&Ms come in a regular bag? Not just regular flavor. If you also bought a regular bag of, let's say, peanut M&Ms, it would be the same amount of colors. We just wanted to make that distinction because there are holiday editions, Halloween, Christmas, that they have different types of color combinations. But in their standard format of colors, if you bought your regular old peanut M&Ms, I guess peanut butter M&Ms, plain M&Ms, pretzel M&Ms, how many colors do the M&Ms come in? All right, and we're coming down to the last wire right here. Our final 10 seconds. At this point, you have nothing to lose to just throw out a number. How many colors do M&Ms come in? All right, and that's our time. The correct answer is 6. You have your blue, red, yellow, green, brown, and orange. So you got your yellow, orange, blue, red, green, and brown. I think they put it to a vote. Blue is the most popular, and brown is the least popular, but they all taste the same going down. That was number one. Question number two now. Another chance to get your name in the bag. Before Phil Collins was a successful solo artist, he also saw success as the drummer and lead vocalist for what rock band? So this is Phil Collins' rock band before he was Phil Collins, the solo artist. And the time is ticking right here. So looking for a band, and as a fun fact, Phil Collins is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. Once as a solo artist, and once as a member of this band. And what band is it? That's the question. All right, we have some answers coming in here. Looking for a band. And reasonably a quite famous band, if this one is also in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it birthed Phil Collins, who is then again in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay. Down to almost 10 seconds remaining to get those answers in, and then we'll pull the plug on you. So here we go. And that is time. The correct answer for this was Genesis. Genesis. And also as a disclaimer, spelling doesn't count when we're playing this game. Do your best when it comes to spelling. As long as we can figure out what you're trying to say, we'll get you those points, even if autocorrect made you say geniuses. I don't think anybody did that, but that was a pitfall that could have happened. So don't worry when it comes to spelling. Up with our next question. All right, number 3 here. Massachusetts state dessert pie is the Boston cream pie. Also named for a place in the respective state. What is Florida's state dessert pie? That's one of those things. Many people know that every state has a state bird and a state flower, but many people might not know that every state also has a state dessert pie. Massachusetts has the Boston cream pie. I believe New Hampshire has the pumpkin pie. Maine has the blueberry pie. So each dessert pie sort of personifies that state. What is the state dessert pie of Florida? of Florida. And I wouldn't be asking this if it was something you couldn't figure out. So put thought to it. What kind of pie would you assume would represent Florida? All right, and we're down to the last quarter right here, fourth quarter for the question. Florida's state dessert pie. And like it says in the questions, it's also named for a place in the respective state. That place is the Florida Keys, Key West, where you grow key limes, making the answer key lime pie. Key limes come from the Florida Keys, so key lime pie is the state dessert pie of Florida. See, we learned something this evening already. All right, number four. Number four. In the NHL, the Thrashers play for what city? This one's straight to the point, no trick question here. The National Hockey League. There is a team called the Thrashers. What city do the Thrashers play for? We'll see. This one might be a good, easy way to get your name in the bag, or it could be a challenge if you don't follow hockey. But at least you can eliminate some cities and make an educated guess if you know your major sports-loving cities in each state. So, the Thrashers, National Hockey League team that plays for what city? What city is what we're looking for right here. Okay, we got some good guesses in. The guesses do have NHL teams playing for them, although not always, specifically the Thrashers here. Okay, we got 5 seconds left. If you're down to the wire, throw out any capital city in the U.S., or I guess any major city in the U.S., most populated in a state. The correct answer is Atlanta, the Atlanta Thrashers. There are some other teams out there like the Nashville Predators, Las Vegas Golden Knights, Seattle Kraken, but it is the Atlanta Thrashers right there. Okay, number 5. This is about movie and literature. 1999's 10 Things I Hate About You is a movie that is a modern retelling of what Shakespeare play. So, to refresh your memory, 10 Things I Hate About You, that's starring Julia Stiles and the late Heath Ledger, sort of a high school dating drama about going to prom. But it was also, it is a retelling of a Shakespeare tale, which is more or less about marriage, an older sister and a younger sister, where the younger is not allowed to date until the older one is married, or in this case, goes to prom. We're looking for what Shakespeare play was that movie based on, or not loosely based on. It's even the town, I believe, is the same town that they used, just instead of late Middle Ages Italy, it is in California. So again, the basis of this story is about two sisters, the younger of which is not allowed to date until the older is married, or in the movie sense, it's about going to prom. All right, and that Shakespeare play is Taming of the Shrew. Taming of the Shrew. The shrew being the older sister, which needs to be tamed in order for the younger sister to follow her dreams of love. So that was Taming of the Shrew, 10 Things I Hate About You. Okay, number 6. Ooh, a name that would inspire a Harry Potter character. What do astronomers know the dog star as? So the dog star may be its common name, but stars sometimes have pretty complicated, more Latin names. What is the official name of the dog star, which inspired a Harry Potter character? So this is a name shared by both a character in the Harry Potter books and one of the stars above our heads, the dog star, to be more specific. All right, and if you're looking for any clues right there, J.K. Rowling did find a lot of meaning in a lot of these names. I believe Harry Potter's owl Hedwig was named after the patron saint of orphans, Saint Hedwig. So, little background for you there. But what character in the Harry Potter series would the dog star relate to? And what is the name of the dog star up in the night sky? Okay. And that's our time. Ooh, we still have room to get another answer in. Okay, the correct answer is Sirius. Sirius was Harry Potter's godfather that could turn into a dog. Sirius is also the dog star, and it's also Sirius XM satellite radio. If you notice, the logo of Sirius XM is a dog with a star for an eye. So Sirius is the dog star. Okay, up next, number 7. Number 7 right here. Expelled from the Massachusetts Bay Colony for spreading new and dangerous ideas, who became the founder of the colony of Rhode Island? Who is the founder of Rhode Island? The colony of Rhode Island, who was expelled from the Massachusetts Bay Colony. So sort of kicked out of our fair commonwealth before it was a fair commonwealth and said, you know, I'm going to start my own. Who was the founder of Rhode Island? That's what we're looking for right here. Expelled from, or worse, expelled. Expelled from the Massachusetts Bay Colony, new and dangerous ideas. This man then went a little south and founded the colony of Rhode Island. What is the name of this colonist? And if you go to Rhode Island, you'll find many things named after this person, which makes sense because it is Rhode Island's founder. All right, we got less than 10 seconds. You still have, we got at least 2 of the answers that came in were correct, so get that name in there. All right, the correct answer was Roger Williams. Roger Williams. You might know locations like Roger Williams University in Rhode Island, Roger Williams Park Zoo, or Roger Williams National Historic Site, all of which are in Rhode Island. Roger Williams was that colonist expelled from Massachusetts only to found Rhode Island. Which brings us to the last question of round 1. So here's one more chance, 1 more minute on the clock before we do our drawing. By what common name was the now extinct Smilodon known as? So, was it the dog star Sirius? I gave you the common name, and Sirius was the scientific name. For this one, Smilodon is the scientific name. And what is the common name of this animal? And if you're wondering, this animal is extinct. It does no longer exist. But, of course, there's a bit of a hint always in the name. What animal would the Smilodon be? An extinct animal at that. Okay, and we're about halfway through right here. If you can think of your extinct animals, the Smilodon. And I guess maybe it'll help, since we're down to the last 15 seconds, I'll give you an era. It's not Jurassic or Triassic. We are talking Ice Age right here. The Smilodon. Okay, last 3 seconds right here. The saber-toothed tiger, or the saber-toothed lion, or the saber-toothed cat, all different names for the Smilodon. And Smilodon, due to its large saber teeth. The Smilodon was the saber-toothed tiger. Okay, and with that concludes round 1. We're going to take about a brief 1-minute break, and when we come back, we'll be doing our drawing for our round 1 prize, which is a $50 gift card to Easton Fitness at 285 Washington Street. Personal training for you right there at the Northeastern Village shops. So I'll be right back with your round 1 winner and round 2.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
Sick of all the new shows and movies dominating pop culture? Well, have no fear, because Old Time Movie and Old Time TV are here, where we like to add our own flair.
There's a truck out front, and if we could just get the keys...
Man, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Those are flesh-eating zombies. They upended our car, okay? We're lucky to be alive, especially Joe. I had to pull him out of the trunk, for crying out loud.
It's been a long day.
Also, Make sure to check out the Radiocast, our accompanying podcast where we talk about what we've watched.
There was a lot of moments of just Mac on the raft going down the river, just internal monologuing over and over and over.
We show the classics and nothing but the classics. Well, except for the weird ones. Check us out on all our channels as well as our YouTube.
And we're back. Okay, everybody's answers have been tallied up and put in this pillowcase of wonders as corresponding little paper squares. So without any further ado, let's check out our lucky round 1 player. Okay, number 5, which would be the second person to write Genesis. This goes to Carol K. Carol K for Genesis right there. Let me just mark you down so that we can contact you for your prize. You never know which answer will be the lucky one for you. Second answerer of Genesis, third answerer of Atlanta Thrashers, or the first answerer of Roger Williams, all had equal opportunities right there. Okay. So, same thing as round 1. We're going to jump into round 2. If you're just joining us, we'll be playing for Makeovers Salon and Spa, $50 gift card. This is right there on 138, 594 Washington Street in Northeastern. So extraordinary services in beautiful surroundings. And also, if you're just joining us, there's a way to join with a QR code. So this is where our answer sheet is. No matter how you're watching this evening, we'll all be sending it in the same way. And by doing so, we'll be able to give you the credit you deserve. So when you do that, and if you're just joining us, your email address is only needed for your first answer of the night unless you change names throughout the night. If you have fun changing names, then you'll have to add the email address. But round 2 works the same way as round 1. You'll still have 1 minute on the clock, and if you're ready, so am I. So here's your round 2 question 1 on the screens. Which U.S. state calls itself the Pelican State? Which U.S. state calls itself the Pelican State? All right, so you have 50 options here, a long form multiple choice. But we can eliminate some. Massachusetts is the Bay State. Roger Williams, he founded Rhode Island, the Ocean State. Which U.S. state calls itself the Pelican State? You might find this on the Welcome To signs on the highway. You might find it on their state capitol building, which will have a pelican right there emblazoned up on it. It's on the state seal of this state, and it's on the state flag of this state. So they're really into pelicans. Which U.S. state calls itself the Pelican State? Okay, 10 seconds remaining right here for the Pelican State. All right, and that's time. So if you follow NBA, it's Louisiana because their basketball team is also the Pelicans. Louisiana is the Pelican State right there. Okay. So that was number 1, Louisiana. Question number 2. Question number 2. What symbol found on a modern keyboard was known as an octothorpe in the days of the typewriter? So you don't have to describe the symbol. It's on your keyboard. It's up there, part of the number cohorts. You got to hold down a shift key to access one of these symbols. But what symbol's official name is the octothorpe? That's what we're looking for right here, the octothorpe. That's how it was known, at least originally, when it was conceived in the days of the typewriter. But as many of these symbols are, they can go by several different names. And popularity of different names ebb and flow, but this one started off as the octothorpe. So you could just punch that into the answer field as well, or you can write it out. Both Both would work. You just can't write octothorpe because that would be cheating. That defeats the nature of the question. What is an octothorpe? Okay. So in the days of the typewriter, it was known as an octothorpe. In the days of the telephone, it was known as the pound. And now in the days of the internet, it's known as the hashtag. So we would have accepted, you could write pound, hash, hashtag, number symbol. That I think also would have been acceptable since number 1 right there. Or you could have just put in that hash mark, that pound mark, that number symbol, or that octothorpe. So there we go. That's the octothorpe. Question number 3. Some good historic Boston sports right here. Before being traded to the Yankees, Babe Ruth played for the Boston Red Sox from 1914 to 1919 at what position? At what position was Babe Ruth playing for the Boston Red Sox? So that's a span of 5 years. And then, notably, when he was traded to the New York Yankees, he then cursed the Boston Red Sox for 85 years. So the curse of the Bambino, it has since been broken. But the Bambino, when he wore the Boston Red Sox jersey, what position did he play? What position for the Boston Red Sox? All right, we got 20 seconds left, so 1/3 of your time remaining to name, I guess, if you know your baseball positions. There's 9 of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 positions out on the field. Which one was Babe Ruth? All right. The correct answer was pitcher. He was a left-handed pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. He was a pitcher. Of course, when he went to the Yankees, they found out that he was such a good slugger, they just threw him in the outfield. He became an outfielder and eventually, in essence, their designated hitter. But that was when he was on the Yankees. When he was a Boston Red Sox, he was a pitcher for us. So a pitcher right there for the Boston Red Sox. Up next, question number 4. Question number 4. Taboo and Apple, spelt APL, are the 2 lesser-known members of what musical group? So we're looking for a musical group for this question. This is almost halfway through round 2 right there. Looking for a musical group in which Taboo and Apple are the lesser-known 2 members. Of course, there are better-known members that if I were to give you their names, that would make this question very easy. So by omitting those names, now it's a real challenge. And I'll give you a hint that the well-known names, there's 2 well-known names, and these are the 2 lesser well-known names. So it's a musical group of 4. Musical group of 4 with Taboo and Apple are the names of the 2 lesser-known members. 15 seconds remaining to name this musical group. Okay, now last 5 seconds. So here we go. Taboo and Apple being the lesser-known members. The better-known members would be will.i.am and Fergie because they are the Black Eyed Peas. The Black Eyed Peas, will.i.am, Fergie, and Taboo and Apple right there. The Black Eyed Peas was your answer for question number 4. Question number 5. We'll get into some civics here. What position is next in line for the U.S. presidency after the vice president? So, in a situation where JFK was assassinated, Vice President Johnson became President of the United States. If JFK and Vice President Johnson were assassinated at the same time, who would be next in line? And I'm not looking for a name, I'm looking for a position. So there's president, vice president, then who is third in line if both the president and vice president are unable to complete their duties? You don't have to name who the current person in this role is, just the name of the role. Right, we're looking for that. So this is in a doomsday situation where Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Johnson are both taken out. What position then assumes the Oval Office? Ooh, okay, we got 1 second left, and we still got room for one more correct answer for this one. It's a little tough, but the correct answer is Speaker of the House. Speaker of the House is third in line for the U.S. presidency. So first in line after the Vice President. Speaker of the House. Okay. And up next, okay. Here we go. The 3-point safety belt used in all cars nowadays was created in 1959 by an engineer for what automaker? So we're looking for an automaker, a vehicle brand right here, that created the 3-point safety harness. The 3 points being hip, hip, and shoulder. So the regular pull-across kind that we now see in all vehicles. This engineer was so kind that he did not patent it. He made it complete public use, so because this engineer realized that it would save lives, because some other competing designs had a strap around someone's neck, and that, for reasons we know today, would not work out. But this engineer did not patent it, made it public property, so that every car sold worldwide could use the 3-point safety harness, not because he wanted to make money, but because he wanted to save lives. And he did. Reduced crash fatalities right there. We're looking for a vehicle brand. And there we go, down to the wire. So known for safety, that is Volvo. Volvo, one of their shticks in their ads is all about safety, and it makes sense that Volvo, I believe that is a Swedish brand, was the first to create the 3-point safety harness. Good old Volvo. Okay, I think it's about time for a movie question. How many James Bond films starred Pierce Brosnan as 007? Pierce Brosnan 007. So again, just like when I asked the colors of M&Ms, you don't need to list any James Bond movies here. We'll just need to list a number. So at least when the clock starts running out and you have no idea, you can throw out an educated guess and maybe you'll get it. But how many James Bond movies did Pierce Brosnan star in as 007 himself? Pierce Brosnan. If you're unfamiliar with the James Bond universe, he was between Timothy Dalton and Daniel Craig. So this spanned the 90s. I believe he was the James Bond of the 90s, or at least the early 90s to the Y2K era. How many James Bond movies? Pierce Brosnan. All right, and that's running out of time. All right, so now it's about time for me to list them for you, because there are 4 James Bond movies. GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day. I know a lot of times that Tomorrow Never Dies and Die Another Day the titles might blend in your mind, making you think 3, but they are separate movies with the same James Bond. There are 4 James Bond movies with Pierce Brosnan. Which brings us to our last question of round 2 before our drawing. Here's your final chance to get your name in the bag. Adorning the streets of New Orleans and appearing on the New Orleans Saints football helmets, what is the traditional of Catholic French royalty called? What is that traditional symbol of Catholic French royalty? Ooh. So you'll find this all over the streets of New Orleans. You'll find it on the helmets of the New Orleans Saints. We're looking for the name of this traditional Catholic symbol of French royalty. So yes, it does have its own distinct name, and so I won't accept the New Orleans Saint symbol, but it does have a name, and reasonably so. The name is derived from French, as it is a Catholic symbol of French royalty. what is the name of this symbol? You could probably start to imagine it in your head because this symbol is iconic of New Orleans. Okay, I guess I'll also accept the English translation. We did get an English translation in there, so that works for me. That is the fleur-de-lis. The fleur-de-lis, which is French for the lily flower. Fleur-de-lis is how it's most often known as. The fleur-de-lis is that symbol that is on French royal buildings. It is on some French royal flags. It's on the New Orleans Saints helmets, and you can find that all along the streets of New Orleans. So that was the fleur-de-lis. All right, so that brings us to the end of round 2. When we come back from our break, we'll be doing our drawing for Makeover Salon and Spa at 594 Washington Street. This is a $50 gift card for extraordinary services in beautiful surroundings right there on 138. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Service Matters, a weekly radio show that talks about the good things that are happening in local communities and beyond.
Since 1978, the Eastern Food Pantry has been dedicated to providing food to our neighbors in times of need. As long as there's hungry people in our community, our doors are open, our hearts will be open to help.
We also like to talk about the good things that people do to make a difference, and in many cases, to make dreams real for folks out there in need.
Just to chat about, as you say, some of the good things in life. There's some of the good things, the great things, and the happy things.
And certainly watch us on ECAT, Eastern Community Access Television.
All right, and we're back. We have all your round 2 answers all tallied up, correctly marked down to the millisecond. That sometimes decided answerer 3 and answerer 4. But now that you are marked down, your answerer rankings are in this bag. And here is our drawing for Makeover Salon and Spa $50 gift card. Okay. Right here for being the first person to say Speaker of the House. This goes to Lori Z. Lori Z, Speaker of the House was your lucky answer right there. Speaker of the House being the third in line for the presidency. There we go. So you never know which one. So Speaker of the House won you that $50 gift card to Makeover Salon and Spa, which brings us to round 3, our final round of the evening. In this round, we'll be playing for a $50 gift card to Kohl's. So this gift card can be used online or in store, and it was donated to us from the Mansfield Crossing location of Kohl's, which I believe would be the closest location to this very studio. So that is what we're playing for. Again, you can scan this QR code to get to your answer sheet, to play along, to throw your hat in the ring, to have that chance to win and be our round 3 final winner of this evening. You'll still have a minute to send it in, because once I reveal the answer on air, we'll stop accepting responses. And if you send in multiple responses, we'll only count your first one, so don't even think about it. Here we go. We got just a few more to go. We'll be starting off with round 3, question 1. Here we go. 1 minute on the clock. Of the 197 sovereign countries in the world that are recognized by the UN, which one would be first in alphabetical order? All right, from A to Zimbabwe. Alphabetically, what country is first in that list? All right, so yeah, according to United Nations, our world consists of 197 independent nations. Which one would appear first if you made all the nations of the world in alphabetical order? Reasonably is one of the nations that begin with the letter A, which there are more than one. So make sure your nation that begins with the letter A is the first one. Looking for, yes, what nation of the world would be first alphabetically? Okay, we get some good guesses. This one's kind of tricky. But it's a country that you know. Okay, so our question 1 answer is Afghanistan. Afghanistan. And then up next would be Albania. It would be second, and Algeria is third. So the order is Afghanistan, Albania, Algeria would be the top 3 in alphabetical order, which, Afghanistan would be the only answer we're looking for. All right, question number 2. Question number 2, I know that one was tough. This one hopefully is easier for you. What breakfast cereal says that it's kid-tested, parent-approved? So that is their slogan as of 2018. So 2018, it was changed to kid-tested, parent-approved. And for the 40 years before that, it was known as kid-tested, mother-approved. So they are a bit more inclusive to people that don't have mothers. But kid-tested, parent-approved, that is the slogan of what breakfast cereal? And that's what we're looking right here, a breakfast cereal brand. You know, they all have fun slogos. Crunchitize me, Captain. Tricks are for kids. Those ones, of course, do have the name of the cereal in the slogan, which makes sense if you want people to know your cereal. But this one's slogan is just kid-tested, parent-approved. What is the name of that cereal? You got 10 seconds left to give me a breakfast cereal. Ooh. Let's see who's still a kid at heart. All right, 3, 2, and 1. The correct answer right here is Kix. Kix, kid-tested, parent-approved. Why? Because they're only lightly sugared versus the other cereals that may or may not be heavily sugared. Kix, kid-tested, mother-approved until 2018. All right, number 3. This is round 3. These are tough ones now. According to the NBA standards, exactly how many feet off the ground must the rim of a basketball hoop be? How many feet off the ground? So there's no inches involved. It is a even number of feet. How many feet off the ground is the rim of a basketball hoop, according to NBA standards? Okay. So again, just looking for a number here, but there's no other way around it. How many feet off the ground is a basketball hoop? Of course, we're not talking about, because then if we're talking about the backboard or the net, you're getting into feet and inches. But the rim is exact when it comes to just feet. How many feet off the ground is an NBA basketball hoop? Which I believe is also the same standard they use in Olympic basketball and collegiate basketball as well. Okay, we have our answers coming in. 5 seconds left. And that is your time. The correct answer is 10 feet. Exactly 10 feet off the ground is how high the rim of a basketball hoop has to be. So if you're able to jump up and touch that rim, I am not. But if I were able to, I could say that's 10 feet. Okay, so up next, another movie right here. What actor played Arnold Schwarzenegger's twin brother in the 1988 movie Twins? So a 1988 movie, classic late 80s sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger, sort of more comedy flick, where it's less actiony and more drama dialogue. Who was Arnold Schwarzenegger's twin in the movie Twins? Okay, and the answers are coming in. Oh, this one's got a higher percentage of correct answers. I think we have some fans of a good late 80s comedy right here. The movie Twins. We got 20 seconds left to name Arnold Schwarzenegger's twin brother in this movie. Okay, and the time is coming down. And so this movie was about gene editing, where two identical twins were in the womb. They dragged all the good traits to one twin, which was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and all the bad traits to another twin, which ended up being Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito was Arnold Schwarzenegger's twin brother, in which they gene edited them to give all the good traits to one and the bad to the other. I believe Danny DeVito referred to himself as the genetic crap in that movie. Okay. Our next question. Who lost to Ronald Reagan in the 1984 U.S. presidential election? So right here, if you can go back in time and think about your U.S. presidents through the last 10 or so U.S. presidents, you could probably name them. But how many could you name the person who lost the general election? That's the tough one, because we have, let's see, Obama beat Mitt Romney, John McCain. We had George Bush beating John Kerry and Al Gore. And just keep working your way down that list. Who did Ronald Reagan defeat in the 1984 U.S. presidential election? 1984 election. With 10 seconds left. Okay, and this was a landslide victory for Ronald Reagan because it was his re-election against Walter Mondale. Walter Mondale right there was the correct answer. Just Mondale would have done, sort of like Jeopardy rules when it comes to these famous figures. Walter Mondale lost the 1984 U.S. presidential election. Okay, here we go. Up to question number 6 here. The consumption is an antiquated term for what infectious disease? What infectious disease was known in the Victorian days as the consumption? Of course, they had a much better way for words back in those days. This is a bacterial infection, which is infectious. And we don't get any good disease names like this anymore. We end up calling it a couple other things, but none are as fun or, I guess, foreboding as the consumption. And this is something that you may hear of many figures in maybe the 1800s succumbing to. And in literature, they might say he succumbed to the consumption. And what is that infectious disease? What is that infectious disease now known as? Or I guess it was still known as that in those days, but it wasn't quite as proper to say its proper name. Okay, we got our time is up. The bacterial infectious disease is tuberculosis, aka TB. So we would have accepted TB or tuberculosis, but back in the day, they'd call it the consumption. Okay, we got 2 more questions, so 2 more chances for this Kohl's gift card right here. Here we go. Number 7. What is the most common last name in the United States, according to the Census Bureau? So I believe we're at 2024 right now, so I think we are in a census year. But the most recent census was 2020, and going back 2016, 2012, 2008, 04, 2000, I went all the way back to the 50s, and it has been the same last name today, and as far back as I looked, that was the most common in the United States. What is the most common last name in the United States, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, which is the authority that I'll have to trust, since I don't think any self-reported Google poll would be as viable as the U.S. Census. but the most common last name in the United States. Okay, yeah, we have some good guesses. Looks like everything that's coming in is definitely top 5. Biggest surprise I saw is from 2000 to 2020, the rise of Garcia. That is top 10 now. Okay, but number 1, that's what we're looking for. That is Smith. Smith is still the most common last name in the United States. And then I believe Johnson is number 2. Jones is also up there, top 10. But Smith has been number 1 for decades running. I'm willing to wager probably since the colonial days. Which takes us to our final question of round 3. So 1 more minute to win it right here. Get your name in the bag. The alphabet. It gets its name from the first 2 letters of the Greek alphabet. Alpha and beta. Alpha, beta. What is the 3rd letter of the Greek alphabet? There we go. 3rd letter of the Greek alphabet. The first one being alpha, the last one being omega, and the second one being beta. What is the 3rd letter of the Greek alphabet? So if you ever learn to recite the Greek alphabet, you don't have to learn too much just to know what comes after alpha, beta, blank. What is the 3rd letter of the Greek alphabet? Okay, we got these answers coming in. How well do you know some of these Greek letters? We're over halfway right there. Okay, 15 seconds remaining. Now I am happy to say that the answers coming in, they all are in fact Greek letters. So you're barking up the right tree, but so far we got 2 that are correct. So throw them in now. You still have space. You still have time. All right, and now that time is up. The 3rd letter of the Greek alphabet is gamma. It goes alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Then epsilon. But that's the 3rd letter of the Greek alphabet. Gamma, like the gamma rays that made the Incredible Hulk, of course. Which brings us to our 3rd and final break of this evening. When we come back, we'll be doing our final drawing for the $50 gift card to Kohl's from our Mansfield Crossing location, used online or in stores. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with that round 3 winner.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of For the Love of Words. After a 3-year hiatus, join me, John Holgerson, and
Priscilla Almquist Olson,
as we interview poets and musicians. Could you give the audience a little summary of your background as a child?
When I turned 7 or so, we were car bombed. That stuck out.
And have them share their love of words.
Sometimes I wonder, do you ever think of me?
A thin broth of moonlight caught in the trees spreads across the garden brush, so one side of every stick shimmers while the other sides melt into one another, a mass grave of cherry, pear, and pine.
For the Love of Words at 7 p.m. on Thursdays.
All right, so we have us all counted for our final drawing. This is for the Kohl's. Before we do that, I just want to say you can join us next month on March 26th at 2024. No, March 26, 2024 at 6 p.m. For the next episode of Tuesday Triviality, where you can have your other chance at winning these prizes at each round if you play with us live. And if you like this and other programs at ECAT, don't forget they can't do it with help from viewers like you. So you can, if you would like to donate to help ECAT with a sponsorship or donation, you can go to eastoncat.org and scroll down for a donation link. And again, we want to thank tonight's sponsor, Northeastern Savings Bank, for making this happen. From personal to business banking and investing services, Northeastern Savings Bank is here to help you grow. All right. So again, thank you all for joining us this evening. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, our round 3 winner. Okay. Answerer number 9, which would be the second person to write Danny DeVito. This goes to Tommy. Tommy, you are our round 3 winner right here. And Danny DeVito was your lucky answer. So again, thank you all for making it out tonight. I'm your host and trivia master, Tim Poupolo, here with Tuesday Triviality, live only on ECAT, only on Tuesdays. So stop by March 26th and play again. If not, you can replay this one for spirit and for practice. Get ready and get excited. Until next time, stay curious and enjoy the trivia.